Hi everyone, today I wanted to do an author highlight. I haven't done one in a long time, so thought it was high time that I did one. And since it's October, fall, I feel very mystery, so I wanted to do one of my favorite mystery authors, Agatha Christie. So Agatha Christie was born in 1890 and she died in 1976. She wrote about 91 books, short stories, and plays in her lifetime. So I'll actually 82 of those were written under Agatha Christie, and the other ones were under, I believe, a maiden name or a pen name. But yeah, so at least 91 books. So I'll be talking about, for the first little chunk, I'll be talking about her standalone novels and short stories, plays, and then I'll be talking about her detectives that she wrote. So I wanted to talk, so the first one is her short stories and plays, and standalone books. So I'll tell you like my two favorite of each category. So some of my favorite of her books that don't have a recurring detective is Why Didn't They Ask Evans? So this is a story about a young guy. He is golfing one day and his golf ball goes off and down a cliff, and as he goes to get the golf ball, he sees a guy dying at the bottom of the cliff. And the guy, before he dies, says, "Why didn't they ask Evans?" So this just keeps eating at the boy. I think his name is Johnny, and he tells his friend Frankie about it, and they both embark on this mystery of who is the guy, who's Evans, and what didn't they ask her? So, or him. So they didn't. This one was a really good one. I've actually seen the movie a couple times, and I really liked it. So the first one is Why Didn't They Ask Evans? The second one is a short story that is really good and that I really liked, and it is Witness for the Prosecution. So this has been made into a movie a couple times, most recently by the BBC. I actually did not like that version. I like the old black and white version that they had. Much better. So this one was, it's a short story, and you can find it, sometimes you'll see like at Barnes & Noble, it's like a little book of her short stories, and a lot of times that one is with it because it's really good. It's about this guy, and he's accused of murder, and it's basically a courtroom drama case, so it's really good. Another one of her short stories plays, actually a play, that is very widely known. I haven't seen it on stage, but it's called Mousetrap. And as of 2017, it has been playing somewhere or other for at least 20,000 performances. So there's something interesting with that. So the first detective that she wrote about that I want to talk about is Miss Marple. Miss Marple is kind of an elderly spinster, never got married, and she lives in the small town of St. Mary Mead, and she uses just her observations of human nature to kind of solve mysteries and murders that are around her. Agatha Christie wrote about 12 Miss Marple mysteries and about 20 short stories of Miss Marple. So my two favorite novels of Miss Marple is, the first one is 450 from Paddington. And the 450 from Paddington is actually one of Miss Marple's friends. She's on a train one day, and as she looks out of the train, she sees someone in the train that's passing by get murdered. But no one believes her. And Miss Marple's like, well, let's see what I can do. So she gets a friend of hers to go kind of scope out stuff. And they kind of start learning about the family. kind of talking about, or they start finding out about just the family and secrets that they might have. So 415 from Paddington, I enjoyed a lot. The book of the Miss Marple mystery that I enjoyed the best was The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side. And this is a story about a movie star that comes to Miss Marple's town of St. Mary Mead. And the movie star, her name is Marina Gregg. She has this party that's going to go on, and someone dies at the party. So they have to find out why was this person targeted, and how did they die, and all that. And it is the first mystery, Agatha Christie mystery, that I wrote, or that I read. It was just really good. And a funny, interesting thing, there was a lot of parallels between this mystery and some stuff that happened to a 1920s actress called Jean Tierney. So if you ever read the biography of Jean Tierney or find out, you'll see lots of parallels of what happened. I don't want to go into too much because it's a mystery, but once I found that out, it kind of gave the book a little bit more depth. And like, oh, I wonder if there was that passing in her mind when she wrote it. So, Agatha Christie's most famous detective that she wrote was Hercule Poirot. And Hercule Poirot, he appears in 33 books and about 54 short stories. I think he's probably one of her more beloved detectives. He is a Belgium guy who comes to England, and he uses his little grey cells, as he says, to solve mysteries. So there's one book where he's like, I can just sit in a chair and figure out the mystery. So I really love Hercule Poirot, and there are so many great stories, mystery stories of his. I think I've read at least 90% of the stories. It was hard narrowing them down to two that I liked the best. I mean, there is the clocks, the story of the clocks, that I really liked. But the two ones that I have read several times was, the first one is Five Little Pigs. And this is a story of this one girl goes to Hercule Poirot and says, years ago, my mom was accused of murdering my dad. I don't know if it's true or not, but can you find out? So this is kind of a hard thing for Hercule Poirot to do, because this happened years and years ago, like 15 years ago. But the whole book is him interviewing these 5 witnesses, and he gets like 5 different stories in the book. And through that, he figures out what actually happened to her dad and her mom that day that he died. So this one was so good, I had to get it in audiobook. I saw there was a dramatization on iTunes, and I had to get the dramatization because it was really, really good. So, Five Little Pigs. One of the most famous Hercule Poirot mysteries, and it's been made into a movie several times, was Murder on the Orient Express. And I really like this story a lot, and way better than the movies. So this is a story of Hercule Poirot. He's on a train, and there's this guy. He comes up to him and says, hey, I need your help. I think someone's trying to kill me. And Hercule Poirot's like, I don't know. Yeah. He recognizes him as just a sleazy guy. So he says no. The next day, the guy turns up dead. So Hercule Poirot feels that he has to figure out what happened. So all the suspects were on the train. There was 12 suspects, and he kind of has to go through all of them. I've read this story several times, and it's really good every time. So those were the two most famous of Agatha Christie's detectives. Miss Marple, you can see they've had many TV series on her. Most famously, Joan Hickson. So the picture that was popped up. Agatha Christie actually met Joan Hickson and kind of had her in mind with some of the stories. I read that, so that was interesting. Hercule Poirot, many movies and TV shows have been done for him, and the most famous person to portray him, and probably the most accurate to the story, was David Suchet. And David Suchet just did a phenomenal job in portraying Hercule Poirot. And I believe the BBC has done like almost every one of his mysteries, and David Suchet has done every one of his mysteries, so he was saying that it was really emotional when he did the last one that they actually aired a couple years ago. So those were the two most famous detectives that she wrote. I do want to send out a shout out to a lesser known detective that she wrote. It's a husband and wife team of Tommy and Tuppence Beresford, and they appear in 5 books. The first one was Partners in Crime, and The Secret Adversary was kind of like an introduction to them, like when they first met. And then the other ones, By the Pricking of My Thumbs, NRM, or Prostrate of Fate, those are kind of as the years go by. They do more mysteries. So it's a fun, Tommy and Tuppence are a very fun husband and wife team that do mysteries. They are funny, and the stories are adventurous. Of course, my 2 favorite ones are Partners in Crime and Secret Adversary. The Secret Adversary is because you get to know them and how they fall for each other. And then Partners in Crime is a collection of short stories of their mysteries that they go through. And I really like that. It was made into kind of a BBC miniseries a long time ago with Francesca Annis and James Warwick, which was really good. So there's a little author highlight of Agatha Christie. Talked about some of her books and some of the movie versions of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Tell me which Agatha Christie books you enjoyed the best, and which mysteries. So anyway, hope you liked this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.